Youth ministry is a lot of fun. And when we invite students to come to youth group, we don't want them to come and be bored. We don't want them to think, oh no, there's another youth event coming. We want our students to come and to have fun and to enjoy their time with one another. And yet we don't want to view fun and games as something that we need to do to make kids come. Instead, here at Rooted, we encourage fun and games as a way to tear down the walls that can so often divide students from one another. Whether it's the walls that divide of gender or of age or what town they live in or what school they go to or what their likes and dislikes are, or all sorts of other factors that can contribute to division or to cliques in ministry. Our games that we play can be a great avenue to give students who are different a shared experience that is really fun and that sets each kid up to be successful. And sometimes when we are playing games with people, we see one another in a different light than the way that we tend to kind of box them in. And so I want to encourage you to view fun and games in your ministry not as the thing that you are drawing students with, but as something that you are doing in your ministry that tears down the walls rather than builds walls of competition. Because sometimes the fun and games we do really are best suited to the athletic kids and to the extroverts. Meanwhile, the non-athletes and the introverts, the quiet kids, are kind of out on the sidelines and they're like, oh no, I'm the first one out in dodgeball, exactly as I planned. And so they look for ways just to get out of the fun and games, and that's like their worst part of youth group. Instead, mix in the variety, play different types of games that highlights the different personalities of students so that some of the fun and games actually is tailored for the non-athletes to succeed, for the nerdy thinkers to dominate 4 on a couch or the thinking memory type of games. One of the common statements that we hear about fun and games is what we win them with is what we win them to. And if we approach fun and games as something that we need to do to get kids to come and get kids to come and get kids to come, then we work ourselves into this cycle where every week the fun and games needs to be better than the fun and games last week. Otherwise, kids aren't going to show up. Or you find yourself spending so much of your budget and so much of your time and so much of your energy cultivating these games to draw kids when you could be spending that time meeting with kids, taking them out for hot chocolate or for ice cream or Dairy Queen or whatever. And so that way the fun and games is not the enemy of your youth ministry, but it's a distraction. And it's become something that you've trapped yourself into because you're viewing it as something that you need to do to make kids come. And instead, what I want to say is relax and remember that if you're building a gospel-shaped culture that is marked by the grace that we receive through Jesus Christ, then we are fostering relationships between students and between the adults, the youth leaders, so that when you come, you're having fun because you're with people who love you and because you're with people who you love. So even if the game bombs, guess what? It's not about the game. It's about the people you're playing the game with. So it's okay. Meanwhile, if you do an awesome game, but you're playing it with people you don't really like, then they're going to go home and they're going to say, oh, youth group was so boring today. It was not fun at all. So instead of viewing games as something you need to do to make kids come to youth group, use fun and games as a way to build a culture that is marked by grace, that values the differences between the different types of students, and that tears down those walls that can so often separate students from one another.